many years ago, and he was in your shoes, essentially. Wanted a change of life, wanted to start a business, wasn't really sure what he was going to do, so took the plunge, brought the machine home, and basically just started to experiment. And
uh-oh, I am hearing from everyone that they're not getting any sound, Barry. Oh.
Okay, hopefully fixed.
Okay.
Well, that was one of the best stories I've ever told, so I'm really sorry if no one could hear that.
Okay, they say okay sound now. Wonderful. Let's start again. So, sorry about that, everyone. We're answering the question that someone asked in chat about if you're thinking about you want to buy a Glowforge, you're on the fence, and you think that you want to start a business to replace your income, but you don't even know what business. What would we tell them?
And so we were giving an example of a customer of ours, Ryan from Light Razor Designs. That's his business name. You can find him here in Seattle, but I think he sells on Etsy and perhaps from his website too. But he was in exactly the same boat. He wanted to change his life. He wanted to start a business, wasn't really sure what, but knew he was interested in this technology. So he took the plunge. He decided that it was the right time for him to take the machine home and start to experiment. And basically, Ryan leaned into what he loved doing. He had a bit of a background in graphic design, so he just started experimenting with shapes and patterns and things like this. And this manifested itself over a few weeks into, surprising to him, he was not expecting this at all, a highly successful earring business. Mm-hmm. And now he sells in all the farmers markets here in Seattle.
He does those gorgeous wood and acrylic planters.
Absolutely,
as well,
yeah.
For like the air plants or succulents. Oh,
yeah, they're super
those.
nice. We've featured him on some of our videos, so you may have actually inadvertently seen his work before. I know on our YouTube channel we've got some testimonials from him where he explains what it's like to have a full-time Glowforge business and family life at the same time. Mm-hmm. But I know for him, one of the key or core reasons for making that shift was the flexibility that it offered him. He could pursue what he loved and still spend time with his family. And I mean, Kristen, I suppose, is another great example, right?
Yeah.
Kristen, you may have also seen, she is another one of our customers, and we
probably
have...
Shoot.
Oh,
of course.
We're trying so hard
to have... The props that we want to speak to, they never managed to be at arm's length. Kristen is an amazing story because she, again, didn't really intend to start a business.
Absolutely, yeah.
She started making these little language blocks to help her small children learn simple words in English in different languages, like animals or colors or things like that. And she ended up making these little blocks. They're engraved on each side. Oh, Barry's running over to
Thank you very much, Barry. Barry's our behind-the-scenes friend. I'm going to put these on here so I think you can all see.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get Barry to shift that camera so you can take a look.
Yeah, but what ultimately ended up happening was the ones that she made on the Glowforge ended up being a prototype for mass-produced product that's now sold on her own website and also on Amazon. So she became an international toy seller with these sweet, clever little blocks.
Yeah. So you have the name of the animal in English on one side. We've got a picture of it here. And then, and pardon my ignorance here, a bunch of different languages, including German. I think there's Japanese on here too. Yeah. But they're super neat, super nice. And she was able to prototype these very quickly, very easily at home, send these off to manufacturers, start working with different people to mass produce them. And you can now buy these on, I think on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
For your own children. They're a really wonderful thing and a really cool story too.
Well, I think we've got tons of folks watching. It's so exciting to just pop up like surprise.
Yeah, we're here.
And here we are, but we do have a print for you today. So maybe
should we get started?
Get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll keep my eyes on chat. So if you have questions, throw them in and we'll just ask them as they come up. I'm on Facebook and YouTube right now, chat. So
have we asked, just to set expectations, how many people here are new to Glowforge and how many people already own a Glowforge?
Great question.
I want to give as much information as is helpful to you, but I don't want to overdo it. So let me know what you'd like to see, more of, less of, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I'll walk you through this print and we'll explain what it's like, I guess, to bring something to life with Glowforge.
So what we've got here in front of us is a Glowforge Pro. You can see the pass-through slot here in the front, which I'm sure we'll get into a bit later, but the pass-through slot is probably the main big difference of getting a Glowforge Pro versus a Glowforge Plus or a Glowforge Basic. And it does allow you to make big, giant pieces like this. Yeah.
Yeah, the typical print area for Glowforge is about 11.5 inches by 19 inches, something like this. And so that is a fixed size. It's not limiting. You can create bigger things by figuring out how to join pieces together. But with the Pro, you can feed in an extra long piece of material. And actually, it can be infinitely long, however long you like, so long as it's not wider than the machine. And then print your design in sections. You load the machine with the material. You print a little bit of the design, move it along. The cameras figure out what to print next, and they print the next bit of the design. And you basically rinse and repeat until your design, like this, is finished. It sounds really complicated, but actually it's really easy. If you can draw this in whatever design software you like to use, might be PowerPoint, might be Adobe Illustrator, it could be anything in between, you can create something like this. Or there's another one there actually behind you, Bailey, that giant Home Sweet Home sign.
Oh, yeah.
This could be a cool one to show.
Yes. I have the baby version of this on my wall at home, actually, which is funny. Okay, ready? Here I am.
There we go, look. This is like one of those moments on the game show where you get the giant check.
The price is right. Oh, yes. It really is.
But this is what, about 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, something like that, approximately. All of this, I'm not sure if you can really see, but all of this is cut from a single sheet of proof-grade maple plywood and then adhered to a piece of walnut plywood. So you get this cool 3D textural effect. It's very tactile. I know it doesn't really translate well on camera, but it's a super cool thing to see up close, and you definitely want to touch it.
It's gorgeous.
Really rad. Thanks, Bailey.
All right, of course. And I see a question about what kind of software that we're using. And today we'll talk through software, but right now we'll actually, oh dear, we'll just, things are crashing. We'll just be showing off the Glowforge print app, which is just available online, app.glowforge.com when you've got your Glowforge. It looks like we've got a bunch of new owners in chat. Some people are saying their pros are arriving this week, that they've
welcome.
Oh, someone's had theirs for almost a year, new to crafting, but wants to learn about different file types. All right, well, I'll let you take it away, Nick.
Excellent. Well, let's dive right in. Like Bailey mentioned, we're going to start with the Glowforge software. Now, this is free for everybody who gets a Glowforge for life. And one really neat thing about it, I say one, there's multiples. Let's reflect on 2 just for a second. No, 3. Let's do 3. It is, first of all, web-based. So it doesn't matter if you're a Mac user, PC user, whether you prefer to use your iPad, so long as you can get to an internet browser, you can download the software. Sorry, you can access the software. And that's a nice segue into the, right, that's a nice segue into the next point. You never have to download or update anything. Every time you open the software, you're gonna have access to the latest release, the latest features, whatever we've developed and given to you. And so what that means, and this is the exciting bit, when your Glowforge arrives, day 1 is basically the worst it's ever going to be, because over time it just gets better and better as we develop new features, new capabilities.
Like a Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super neat. And I mean, I wish I could remember the history of the updates that we've rolled out over time, but there's so many of them, including things like stamp making tools, puzzle making tools, things that make those popular products so much easier for everybody to create themselves. So let's dive right in and show you what it looks like. I'm going to stick my computer up here, and I think we can share my screen so you can see exactly what I'm looking at right now. Wonderful. Okay, so what we see on the screen right now is the Glowforge print app. And it doesn't look like much right now, I know, but bear with me. This is where the magic starts to happen. In the middle here, I actually have my design ready to go. This is from the Glowforge catalog, and for those of you who aren't familiar, the Glowforge catalog is an ever-expanding repository of digital designs that you can download. A lot of them are free, some of them are free with Glowforge Premium, which we can touch on a little bit later. But you can download these and basically press print and be ready to go. They're great for people who are new to this type of technology, looking to experiment. Maybe you need a last-minute gift for somebody, maybe just some inspiration. It's a neat place to go. And so we're going to start with this design, which actually is a mailable postcard, which this is pretty neat, actually. I like this one. It's pretty cool.
I should send one to my niece and nephew. They would get a kick
That's
out of
that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like anyone who knows what a cassette tape is, like probably our sort of age range, you know, maybe they might think it's a novelty, you know. Auntie is so much older than I am.
Yes.
But we can mail this by sticking a stamp. It's a solid piece of wood, but the cassette tape that you see in the middle there, you can actually pop out. And use that as a gift tag for something else, or a keepsake, for example, you know, whatever that might be. But let's dive right in. So on the screen, what we can see is our design, and then a black space behind it. This is my favorite feature of the Glowforge, and what we're actually looking at is inside the machine itself. Now, right now it's black because it's empty, but watch this. If we just move that computer, open this up, and throw in a piece of material, and right now I've got some medium maple plywood here. I'm going to stick that in. Don't have to be particularly careful, just throw that in like that, and we'll close the lid. And watch my screen. I think, is that the screen that's live right now, Barry, the software? Perfect, all right, excellent. You'll see in a second, as the machine scans, it's gonna take a photo of what we just put inside. And what you'll see underneath our design is our material. How cool is that, right? And what I love about this is we can work very visually on our material. And what I mean by that is this. Here is our design. Right now, this is where it's going to print on this piece of material. If I want to change it, if I want to print somewhere else, I can just click and drag and move it here. And now it's going to print here.
And admittedly, we're usually not printing on a brand new full piece of proof grade.
That is very
like
true.
This.
Yep.
I mean, as we know, everybody likes to, conserve funds, conserve, the environment and everything, and use their material every last bit. And so that's actually what's, I think, my favorite part about the overhead view is it allows you to use every last scrap. You've got a little tiny piece. You can put that in the bed and do an earring on that little tiny piece.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
every bit of your material gets used. It's wonderful.
It's really cool. And on a similar note to that, with this, we can drag this around wherever we like, just like we talked about, but we can also resize the design by clicking and dragging on the corner. We can undo using keyboard shortcuts you're probably used to, like Control or Command Z. And we can also rotate too. I'm going to click on the little arrow at the top, spin that around, and so we can start to fit these around, well, any space that we might have on the material, any particular grain pattern we like, all that kind of good stuff. We can also, let's say we want to make these for multiple nieces and nephews, copy and paste, and we can create duplicates of that design too.
Which, that right there, I'm sure many of you are already thinking it, but you could sell things and made on your Glowforge, of course. And so this is a wonderful way to batch produce whatever your design is, rather than printing one postcard, one pair of earrings at a time. You can do the whole bed.
And I think when we talk to people who have their own business, they often say that Glowforge is their favorite business partner.
Right.
Because they
can
absolutely
working all night.
Working all night, literally. You can send your prints to Glowforge. It takes care of that for you while you work on your next big idea, communicate with customers, whatever that might be. All right, so back to our print. I have 2 copies. We only want one, so I'm just going to hit delete and get rid of that second one. Easy as that. I'm going to move this print up to, I want to be able to show you this, so I think I'm going to put it here in the top corner so you can see a little bit more easily as I'm printing. And I'm going to just take a look on the left side. And what we see on the left side here are 2 different things. We've got our materials, which are preset settings that are built into the app that allow you to cut, score, and engrave the material. Now, you'll notice, and let me know if I'm losing anybody here or you need some more clarification, but this piece of material we put into the bed has a sticker in the bottom right-hand corner. And that QR code is read by Glowforge, so it knows what we've put into the bed. And what that means is we can auto-configure everything that you need to bring that print to life without you having to do anything at all. And this is where it gets a bit weird, because if you've not used a laser before, I know, have no idea that you need to control power and speed, resolution, all that kind of stuff. You don't need to with these materials in this machine. It takes care of that for you. You can focus on the idea and bringing it to life. Now, that being said, and I'm speaking to people here who might be makers like myself, who like to delve into the granular.
Some people love that. That's their favorite part. They
want
to grab a rock off the ground and put it in and say, I wonder with this speed and power if it would be a white engrave or a dark engrave.
Absolutely.
And whatnot.
Yeah, all that good stuff. If there is somebody out there who's interested in that, let me know and I can show you. For now, I'm going to skip over it. But trust me, you have the granular control that you might need if you're looking for something very specific. But anyway, our software has auto-detected the material, so I don't need to do anything here at all. And on the left-hand side here, what it's also done is identified all the individual little bits and pieces that make up this print. Now, Glowforge can do really 3 things. It can cut, score, and engrave. And just to go through and explain those super quickly, cutting is like a pair of scissors. Simple as that. Cut through the material. Very easy. Scoring is like drawing with a pen. You can imagine sort of calligraphic type, things like this. It's like a single line on the surface of the material, whatever shape you like. And then engraving is like shading with chalk or markers or pencils or something like this. And by combining those different techniques, you can create different things, like we're going to do with this postcard right here. So our software has automatically decided the best settings that it thinks we should use, including a score for these details here and for these details here. We have a cut for the outline of the tape and then a cut for the outline of the postcard. And that's it. And then I know I talked a lot, but really, if you wanted to print this, actually, I can show you it this way. If you wanted to print this is all you would have to do. I'm going to go back to this page now, which is my dashboard. This is all the prints that we've done in the past. Absolutely. I'm going to click to open this design, and it's going to load. We see it there on our page. We already have our material detected, so the only thing we need to do is press print. And that's it. If I shut up for a second and didn't tell you all of that stuff, this is all you would have to do to bring that print to life, which is pretty neat. So sorry about the words.
That is incredible, though, isn't it?
It's so quick and easy.
You know what else is really quick, and lots of folks ask us about Glowforge Day, the day that I'm getting a laser on my doorstep. Like, what do I do? And I love to tell them that it only takes about 30 minutes to get set up. As long as you've got a friend around to help you lift the heavy box, once you've got it onto the table, you'll be rocking and rolling really fast. It's basically just as easy as setting up any Wi-Fi device in your home, like a Nest, or everything's got Wi-Fi these days,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah. Amazon Echo is a great example. Yeah, it's really simple.
My dad was printing the day he got his, no problem, and he's certainly not super tech savvy. So I feel like he's a great example, because I was expecting to go over and help him set it up, and no need.
Wasn't he printing like lunch boxes or something within an hour?
He was printing these sweet little little keepsake boxes that had engravings of Scottish castles that we'd visited.
So fun. So
low
fun.
key.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just my first project. Functional lunchbox with castle art. But here we are, ready to go. And hey, Barry, could we switch back to my screen just one sec? Oh, perfect. All right. So for those of you following along here, on the right-hand side, we have another neat feature, and that is our print time.
Yes.
Now, this sets your expectations to how long this is going to take. It's a wonderful thing just to understand how this works, and you start to relate this time to different operations, scores, engraves, what takes longer. Cutting, super quick. Engraving takes a little bit longer, depending on the result that you want. But this is going to take us 4 minutes to bring it to life.
Nice.
And that's it. Next step. And if we want to go back to that main camera, Barry, you can probably see on the Glowforge, we actually only have one button. And it's right there.
Can you see that it's glowing? I think so.
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure.
Well, it is.
There.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There
All
we
right.
go. Thanks, Barry. And that's all there is to it. A single button to press, and then we start to go.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to grab our handheld camera here, if it's still
perfect.
on. Let me wander across to the front and just give, for those of you who aren't familiar, a peek inside the machine.
I love this view.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. You can see some of our lights above, but
yeah, sorry about the
ignore
reflections.
those.
But what you can probably
look at the
see,
design up here.
right? Isn't it cool?
It's incredible.
Look how precise that is. Those movements are just super cool. It's like watching a campfire. It never gets old. Me and Bailey, actually Bailey, I forgot, we didn't do introductions. No one actually knows who we are. We should do that in just a second as the sprint's progressing.
We just got so excited about going live.
But yeah, me and Bailey have been here for almost 6 years each now.
Yeah.
And this never gets old.
It really doesn't. No,
like,
this is
nothing,
not our first Glowforge print.
Right, and it definitely won't be our last. But look at that. Nothing is touching that material except for laser light, and yet it's able to make these permanent marks on the surface of solid wood. And when you just say that out loud as a phrase, it seems too good to be true in many ways, right? It is super crazy. All right, I'm going to put this down for a second. I'm going to leave it right here.
We've got so many questions rolling in. Let's
Wonderful.
take a few. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. Sorry, everyone.
Well, yeah, this is totally my fault. I get far too excited about this.
No, I mean, it's okay, but gosh, I'm so happy to see all these questions. This is great. All right. So someone's asking about settings for engraving on iPads and iPhones. Wow, we actually do have a preset setting for an aluminum MacBook or something in Glowforge. But in general, if you are using a material that's not proof grade, a rock you picked up, oh yeah, here's a beautiful example. A rock you picked up off the ground, a piece of plywood you got from Home Depot, a cool piece of aged barn wood that you found in an old barn. You can certainly use those things in your Glowforge, but you're just going to need to do some experimenting and some research. So if it's something that you're purchasing, you can actually contact the product or the material manufacturer and ask about laser safety and laser compatibility. Or if it's something like a rock off the ground or whatnot, I would really recommend relying heavily on our community forum. So the forum is hundreds of people, thousands of people, of Glowforge owners who've had their Glowforge for years, who are on there sharing everything that they've tried. And they've tried everything from, slate coasters on Amazon to a pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And so if you're thinking about it, check there and see what experiments others have run. Oh my gosh, look at the stuff you keep throwing up there.
This is Textiles. We spent a few minutes this morning just gathering together a variety of different things to show everybody what you can do.
The glass plate, someone's remarking, Melissa's saying.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Glass engrave is gorgeous. Glass and acrylic are both really nice options.
This is a piece of slate right here. And this stuff, you just throw it in your Glowforge. You don't need to prep anything. Oh, we don't need to prep anything. You can just put it in there and start to print.
Let's see. Engraving on round coffee mugs. So Glowforge is able to accommodate for a curved surface. If you've got something that's not perfectly flat, that's fine, and the camera will be able to pick up on that and keep your print in focus. A coffee mug, though, is likely too tall. We do have about a 2-inch height restriction for items you can put in here. So something like a flask that we've got around here somewhere can fit in, or maybe like a champagne flute, but not maybe a wine bottle. I think someone was asking about that.
Yeah, there is a glass bottle just behind you there, Bailey, if you want to grab it.
Oh.
Let's say you're making your own hot sauce or your own preserves, or maybe in the wintertime something a little stronger to keep you warm. you know, by the fireside. This is a great thing that you can put in there. This is a flatter bottle, and it engraves just perfectly.
And there are all sorts of interesting bottle shapes now. You can find lots
spice
of things.
jars, that's another great popular one too.
I've also seen folks getting very creative with personalizing cork wine bottles or making leather patches to put on. Cork is gorgeous.
Here's some cork. Oh, I think we lost our overhead camera, but I'll hold this up just so you can see. This is a piece of cork. And again, I think if I move that around, you can see how nice and contrasty that mark is.
Someone's asking, will this video be available later to watch again? Yes, this should continue to live on our Facebook page. So you should be able to find it then, just if you scroll down. And I haven't mentioned
on the to-do list.
Everyone watching here today, we do have a little pop-up discount for y'all. So if you're considering getting a Glowforge, I made a code last night. I made it good till the end of the month, so it'll turn off on June 1st. But that's glowforge.com/justbecause. And just one word, just because. And if you use that link to buy your Glowforge, you'll get, I believe, $500 off a Glowforge Pro or $250 off a Glowforge Plus. So that's, I mean, it's the best price we offer.
Yep, it's
good
true.
Through the end of the month. So sorry, meant to mention that at the beginning, but hopefully if you've popped in and we've, enthralled you for this long with Glowforge, you're ready. Let's see. Let me grab some more questions.
Should we also tell them, Bailey, that we're planning on doing this a little more often from now on too?
Absolutely. Yes.
This is new for us in terms of the concept and what we're trying to share. We want to learn from you in terms of what you want to hear, what you want to see, and we want to go live more often to get your questions answered as and when they arise. So this is going to be the first of a series, very experimental. You'll ride along with us as we figure out what it is that this is going to look like. But we are going to be going live again and again, ideally and hopefully twice a week for the foreseeable future. So feel free, if we don't get our questions, if we don't get time to answer your questions today, you can tune back in when Bailey emails you again. Or, and maybe we should mention this too, we do have a sales team available who you can jump on the phone with to ask and answer specific questions. And how would they go about contacting them, Bailey, these days?
Great
question.
I
totally forgot. We've tried to make it easier, and I've absolutely forgotten how we did that.
Yeah, I'll be sending out an email. So all of you who have gotten here via email, you'll get an email this afternoon that has a link easy to make it. But I think if you're just on our glowforge.com/products page, we've got a chat. And that's a great way to talk to sales, to set up a call for later, to set up a chat time for later.
Absolutely. I saw another question coming in actually too, and that's about venting and how venting works. And I'll just explain this super quick. I think some of you are probably familiar already, but in a nutshell, everything that you need to vent your Glowforge comes with it. And when I say venting, as we're printing, there is some smoke and particles that come off the material as the laser light hits it. And we need to get that away from you and your environment and outside somewhere safely. And so we've got two options. Option one, and I'm going to switch to my iPhone here so you can see, is, I'll just wait for that to come on the screen. So there we go, perfect. So, this is the stand-up setup that most people are going to use. This is a standard 4-inch dryer hose. There's one with your Glowforge, but you can pick them up from Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever you might find your dryer hoses these days to replace it if you ever needed to. And this can be thrown just out of a window or a door. I personally at home throw mine out of a window. I have a piece of acrylic that I cut on my Glowforge actually to accommodate the other end of the hose, so it sort of seals up most of the window and the hose just fits there. Really easy. Tons of examples on the Glowforge community forum. Or if you are looking for a different solution that is all, I guess, inside your house, maybe you can't be near a window, maybe you're printing in a basement, or maybe you're looking to make your machine a little quieter, we actually offer this product too, which is called the Glowforge Air Filter.
Hand for scale.
Yeah, hand for scale. It's about the size of a recycle bin, and this does all of the heavy lifting for you. This is a replaceable cartridge inside, and it takes away all of the smoke and the fumes that you might experience while you're printing.
Yeah.
And it can live anyway. You just plug it in, sit it on the floor next to your Glowforge, run that dryer hose to it, and it filters out all of those particulates. Super easy.
Yes. So.
All right. More questions.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So many. Well, we're just seeing lots of questions about materials. We have lots of other things we can show you.
Yeah.
Do we have anything like leather? Oh, we haven't shown off the Dan bag yet, which is my favorite.
We can do the Dan bag,
leather example. Whoever was asking about leather working, here we've got the overhead camera working again, so you can see this. This is what I feel one of our most impressive projects. I love it. I think Nick actually made this, so he should be the one to opine about it. But It was made for our CEO, Dan, several years ago, and it was made to just fit his belongings perfectly. So whatever phone he was using at the time, his Glowforge business cards, all of that.
I think it was a spot for a notebook. He had a specific computer he wanted to use. There's a zip-up pocket for security as well.
It's magnet right here, so it just closes really nicely and stays closed.
So you see the little Glowforge kind of logo hint on the front there, just trying to keep it a little bit on brand. And then on the back, we even have an elastic strap for to go over the handle of your roller suitcase, which is pretty neat.
So clever.
All of this was made with Glowforge. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bailey.
The stitch holes. I feel like that is what people don't realize. Yes, it can cut the the shape of the bag out, and we could have also engraved a design on here. We didn't do that with this design. Like here's some engraved leather. But the stitch holes, typically with leather working, you leather workers out there will know, you'll need specialty sewing machines or needles or a hammer or something to get through leather. But if you do the stitch holes as part of your design, the Glowforge will cut them for you, and then you are just lacing it up like a shoe, just in and out quite easily like butter.
Yeah, absolutely. So this took a while to make, but is very accessible. It's one of those projects that looks almost too impressive to feel feasible, but honestly, a little bit of time with this, a little bit of practice, and you too can make things a bit like this one.
Our print is done, by the way. I guess we can pull that out.
That seems like a decent idea.
More than 4 minutes. Questions coming in. Can I run this off of a tablet? Do I need to have a PC? Yes and no. You can run it off of anything you like that has internet.
That's it. Sometimes on a phone screen, I find it just a little small to control what I want, but it absolutely works. It's great for monitoring your print. If you have, for example, Glowforge in the garage, but your computer is in your studio, you can actually jump on your phone and monitor what's happening, print times, that kind of thing. But a tablet, something a little bit bigger, works great. That works really nicely. Do
you happen to know off the top of your head, Michael is asking about thicker leather, like 8 to 9 ounces for cutting and engraving. I think engraving, you'd be fine with that.
Absolutely.
I don't know ounce and height off the top of my head.
That's getting a little thick. You probably could get through it. I would say, and just to be fully transparent, I used to be a leather worker before I joined Glowforge. That's maybe a little thick, and it really does depend on the type of leather. If it's an oiled leather, bridal leather versus just a plain veg tan.
Veg tan, right.
Absolutely, yeah. But one thing, and super quick background on me, when I created my leather business, I was using lasers to create acrylic templates that I could then cut around to make products. I never thought about actually cutting the material itself with the laser. So for those thicker materials and ones that we can't cut, chrome tan leather is a good example. Yeah. That's not a good one to cut with a Glowforge. You can create acrylic templates to give you really accurate cuts and placement of your poppers, snappers, zips, that kind of thing. Yeah,
makes sense. Want to lift it out?
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. All right, so actually, could you go to the overhead, Barry? Yeah, there we go, perfect. So, as you can see in here, print is finished. The laser head, which is this piece right here, is returned to home. Everything is safe to touch. We've opened the lid, and I can just lift this out. And what I'm trying to show you is, and it's hard to do this bending over the table, is that. How cool is that? I love giving demos to people in real life because that's such a cool thing to see. It really is. And here's our print. And I guess if I take that out and put it on the top, you can probably see it a little bit better.
So we didn't do it this time, but you can tell that this was designed either to write on, or some of you might know that we actually have a feature on Glowforge called Trace. So you could actually write on a piece of paper or directly on the material. Glowforge's cameras will capture that handwritten or hand design part of your design and could engrave it on here. So if we wanted to personalize this mix tape, little laser summer 2021.
Absolutely.
I don't know, best summer ever.
Yeah, your nephew and niece's names, whatever that might be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
do we have time to show them, or do we have a lot of questions?
We have time. Yeah. Want to do a quick trace?
I won't actually print it, but I'll show you how this would work, because I think you can imagine it. And I'm actually going to use this. This here is actually a product from one of our customers. It is an Apple Watch band in silicon, and they have taken these, bought them off the shelf from somewhere, and they've actually engraved a super detailed pattern onto the top of that. And if we can switch the overhead, Barry, I'm not sure if we can see this or not on there. Actually, maybe I should do the iPhone instead.
Oh, yeah.
Let's pull that out, then you can see. Can you, let's take a look. There we go, perfect. So if you can see there, this is a piece of silicon that someone has engraved. And look at the detail that we can get on there. Isn't that so cool?
I love that. And folks have bought a Glowforge and their whole business is engraving silicone watch bands, or their whole business is selling Christmas ornaments just in Q4, or,
Absolutely.
It's incredible. Okay, well, I just wrote laser mix on this piece of paper and did a really interesting attempt at a like a lightning bolt. So
I love it. I love it.
Let's stick that down in there, and I'm going to, let's see, move the design just slightly on top of it to make sure it doesn't blow around in there.
Awesome.
All
And
right.
as you probably saw there, all Bailey did was take a piece of paper, write something on it with a pen. We're using white paper and a black Sharpie, works really nicely, and put it inside the Glowforge. And the reason I grabbed this watch band is for the packaging, actually. Something like this, say a page from a magazine with a cool font or a piece of wallpaper with a cool pattern, you could put something like this into the Glowforge too and trace this design and then add it to your own work. So let me show you what this looks like. If we switch back to my screen, what we'll see, I'll just wait for that, perfect, is once again, we have a new image inside the printer. And what we're looking at is our finished design and our laser mix. Now what I'm gonna do is actually take our design here and just move it off this printable area so it's out the way. So we're left with just this. I'm gonna close the sidebar so it's not distracting. And then I'm gonna hit the, let me just, okay, maybe I'll just leave that for a second. I'm going to click this plus button and I'm going to go to trace. And this is where this software comes to life. I'm going to draw around the piece that we want, which is this Laser Mix 3 that Bailey wrote. And what the software is going to do is basically create a digital version of that. And you saw how quick that was and how easy that was. I can click place right now. And that's created a printable version of the artwork that Bailey just created. And from here...
Generous.
I don't know, Bailey. I would consider you an artist after all these years. I'm going to zoom in so everyone can see. But really what we have here is a pretty cool, realistic... Well, I say realistic. It's an exact representation of Bailey's handwriting, but in a laser
Drag that over
engravable
to the, maybe to the label of the tape. For
oh,
those
yeah,
of you...
that's what I've got it on.
Oh,
Perfect.
perfect, yes.
Excellent.
Oh, I think I'm watching the 30 seconds behind.
Oh, yeah. The joys of being live.
Yes.
All right, now one thing you probably noticed, if we go back to our top left corner, is we don't have our material there anymore because we took out that QR code. No problem. We click Unknown. We can type for the material we're using, which this time is medium maple plywood. Click on that. And we have our settings already, what's the word I'm looking for? They're pre-selected. Glowforge figured it out for you is what I'm trying to say. And at that point, all we have to do, once again, is press print. Now, this is going to tell us that we didn't recognize the barcode, and it's going to make sure that we understand that if we're not using proof grade, we're going to watch the print and just make sure everything's working correctly. And then it's going to prep that print in just the same way. And what we'll see is it's going to spin, process. Glowforge is going to do a couple of different operations to figure out how to print this perfectly, and then it's going to tell us our print time. And then once again, somebody gets to press that, that button, and we can bring it to life. And what's cool, I think, about this is we can show you now a different type of print operation. This is an engrave. We've done cuts and scores with this one, and this time it's an engrave. Kind of like an old dot matrix printer. You know how it used to go back and forth and scream at you a little bit? Like this is a similar kind of feel. All right. 43 seconds to print this.
Okay, so don't look away.
Don't blink.
I'm just going to scroll through and see if there's any more questions we need to definitely get to while we're looking at this engrave. The biggest thickness of wood able to cut in a Glowforge, Kelly is asking. Kelly, we're typically able to cut through about 1/4 inch of most materials, and you'll find that that varies a little bit depending on the wood. You also could try multiple passes. If you've got thicker than 1/4 inch up to about 1/2 inch, if you wanted to do the cut twice, you might experiment with that.
There we go. Look how cool that is.
There it is, just appearing. Look at that.
This is the mesmerizing bit, really. I mean, you get friends, family gathered around the Glowforge, and you just see something appear before your eyes, especially something that's, you know, permanent on the material. Wow, and that's finished already. Wow. How quick and easy was that?
A quick little 43 seconds.
There we go. And we can pull that out. Did we touched on proof grade briefly, right? Did we talk about the paper on the front?
No.
Maybe this is a good time to talk about that. Should we pull it out?
Yes. So you can see that this looks white, and it's actually because it has a protective coating on the top. Every piece of proof grade comes covered with this low tack adhesive paper. It peels off pretty easily, either with a fingernail, or I personally like to use Gorilla Tape. You just kind of put a piece on and then it'll the whole bit off. But what it does is, you notice There's just some little tiny singe marks around maybe the cut lines or some of the more dense engraves. And if you want to keep your material pristine and make sure you don't have to do any extra finishing, because proof grade, by the way, the wood all comes pre-treated, pre-stained, so you don't need to do any of that. And so this way it's protected. You just peel it off and you've got this gorgeous finished maple underneath.
Let's, I guess we could show you,
we could
right?
show it, yeah.
Let's just get the corner of this one.
And we have just a moment or two left, so I'm checking both chats to see if there's anything else we desperately should answer live. And I did want to, I see a few more. Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go. So I left that a couple of pieces on there so you can see hopefully the difference between that finished material and not. Is it maybe a little bright?
Yeah, it might be a little blown out, but here's
all right, let's bring that iPhone over again. There we go. Perfect. So you can see underneath there we have a beautiful piece of maple plywood, and that's been pre-sanded and pre-finished with a furniture grade finish. So it's basically ready to ship if you're thinking about using these for a business. It's also, for those of you who are out there who are a little crafty, a great way to mask shapes when you're applying paint effects. You can cut and score the little shapes that you see in here, peel them away, add your paint, peel away the rest of the masking, and you can suddenly create the most intricate paint effects that you've ever been able to do.
Yeah, that would really
Super
help
cool.
you stay within the lines. That's perfect. Well, I think it's about time for us to go, but I wanted to make sure I said that discount code again. I see a couple of requests for it. So if you're looking to buy a Glowforge before the end of May, I made this code last night. It's glowforge.com/justbecause, and that's going to get you $500 off a Pro or $250 off a Plus.
Wonderful. And so I'm just thinking out loud about what we should say before we go.
Yeah.
Discount, very important. Remember, for those of you who have maybe just joined, I say remember. If you just joined, you don't remember. And this is why I'm saying it again. We are intending to do these as an episodic series.
Yeah.
So we will try to be online, hopefully twice a week. So if today we didn't get to your question, I'm very sorry. You can either email it in to us, message us on social, or join us again for the next live stream when Bailey communicates that with you.
If you're over on YouTube, you can leave, and you're watching this after the fact, so we're not live right now on YouTube or Facebook, really. Leave your question in the comments, and then we'll see that. Maybe we'll be pre-prepared to answer it another time.
That's a great question, a great idea. And on a similar note, like we said before, this is kind of new for us. We're experimenting with this type of content and this sort of cadence. If you have some feedback about what you liked, what you didn't like, maybe you want to see more of this or less of that, please let us know. Again, jump in the comments once the video is available on YouTube and let us know. We'd love to learn from you. And I wanted to leave with one last thing, if everybody has time. Is that right? Yeah. I meant to mention this earlier, but just a little peek and insight into Glowforge life.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to one of our colleagues, Hope.
This was so fun.
Hope is a data analyst on our team, and she organized a social event for us this morning before we got to work, and it was a soap making event. I've never made soap before, neither has Bailey, I don't think.
Camera on these.
Yeah, but look at these beautiful things. Now, these were kits that Hope had ordered for us so we could work together and talk about it. But the reason I thought these were interesting, for people out there thinking about alternate uses, yeah, absolutely. One thing that Glowforge is really good at is making stamps. If you're a soap maker or interested in making soaps, it would be super easy, and I wish I'd done this before the stream now, to create a stamp of your logo, some text, a fun message, whatever that might be, and as the soap is drying, actually imprint that into the surface of the soap. It would be so cool, so easy to add that special touch. I mean, for a gift, you could put someone's name on that with little to no effort at all.
Another soap business idea, you could make acrylic jewelry and then put it in while the soap is in there, and then when you use the soap, you get the jewelry as an extra treat. I think they've got candles with rings in them or something like that.
Yeah, things like this. Maybe for kids too, put a little dinosaur in there, and maybe they encourage them to get washed.
Yeah, once you get a Glowforge, you will not be able to stop thinking of ideas.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the magic, and we hope you saw some of that here today.
Wonderful. All right, well, on that note, I guess we'll say goodbye for now. Thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to leverage that discount if you're interested in Glowforge. We don't know how long that's going to be. Oh, actually, good through the end of May.
Yep.
Great. Yep.
Glad
we figured that out.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you so much.
Bye.